Hey Scorpio, Ali from Indigo Ascension. I'm going to be doing your July 1st to the 15th reading. I do realize that those dates reflect a time that has passed. So the first couple of weeks of July, this reading is going to be a reflective reading, okay? To pick up on the collective energies of the Scorpios that I'm connecting in with. To take a look and see perhaps what energies you have been processing and crossing paths with. We'll see if it goes into detail about the different scenarios and situations that some of the Scorpios I'm picking up on. Alright, if this is your first time to the channel, please do go ahead and check out the description box below where you're going to see a link to my Facebook page and my website address to discover a little bit more about the work that I do as an intuitive energy healer and reader. Unique and only on Instagram, you're going to be seeing the quick reads, which I do each weekend in time for the Monday, okay? I've already done this week's reading, so please do go ahead and check that out. And also on the channel, you will see that I do monthly readings as well. So July's readings are already up. Just to give you guys a quick recap, we currently have 6 planets in retrograde. We've been through an ecliptical journey, an ecliptical window, and transitioned ecliptical cycles. We've been on the Cancer Capricorn ecliptical cycle, which ended in early July. And we have now commenced the Gemini Sagittarius ecliptical cycle. Let's take a look and see what energies I'm connecting into. Now, I've connected into each zodiac before the readings and received intuitive messages and visions, all right? So with the Scorpios I'm connecting into, I felt a very healing space, very much a wombing energy, okay? So the Scorpios I'm connecting into, it's almost like perhaps the first 2 weeks of July have been very reflective, very emotionally encompassing is what I want to say. I felt like I was in a quiet healing space and I didn't want to be distracted by the world. I didn't want to connect into others, and it could have been after a time of discovering information. It could have been a time of processing deeper pain and hurt, Scorpio. It completely is dependent upon your storyline. However, it was dark, all right? So it felt like, that's what I was saying, it was a wombing energy. It was dark. However, I noticed a glimmer of light. So perhaps as we approach the middle of July, many Scorpios are finally ready to see the light. And that can be metaphoric of the reason why something has recently happened, the reason why a past hurt had to happen in the way that it did. Maybe you are uncovering some deeper subconscious blocks and motivations and processes, whatever the case may be, Scorpio. I was very much aware of this light, no doubt. Like I felt like perhaps an infant in the womb. You know, when you get an ultrasound, not that I remember as an infant, but from what I understand, that beam of light, that it's noticed by the infant, you know, it's noticed by the fetus in the womb. So it was almost like it was encompassed. I felt encompassed by darkness, but it was a healing tomb, a healing womb, if you like. It was a time of healing, a time of feeling reclusive. Maybe that's what many Scorpios that I'm connecting into were feeling for the first 2 weeks of July, but there was a light that you became aware of, or you will become aware of. It almost feels like an aha moment, or an understanding of why things had to happen the way they did is what I want to say, Scorpio. Now, I'm pulling soul cards for you. I'm pulling 3 soul cards to perhaps reflect the energies that you've been processing and working through, as well as clarifying with some tarot. Now, I do see here that we've got the 10 of Swords. Now, maybe you have been through recent times of, like I said, it was this healing, this womb energy. But I also see the Ace of Cups on the table, and that's very reflective of that light that I was becoming aware of. You know, I'm not going to discount the fact that many of you have been retreating, wanting to retreat to peace, move away from a situation that was causing you conflict, or at least just a deeper desire to experience peace in the recent past. Because above all of this, you needed to go to temple, you needed to withdraw from a situation, from a conflict, from a miscommunication, from a misunderstanding, or at least a sense of uncertainty in your life. and the way things were progressing. So take it however it resonates. This might apply to your career. This might apply to a significant relationship. This might apply to a significant conflict within family. Whatever the case may be, many Scorpios that I was picking up on, as represented by that vision I was getting, were just wanting to retreat. And maybe that was the first 2 weeks of July for you in many ways. But don't forget, that was also, there was also that light that I was becoming aware of, almost like a rising energy within me, an awareness within me, or at least outside of me. I was beginning to turn my face to the sun. Okay, and that can be symbolic for you wanting to connect into hope, wanting to connect into clarity, or choosing to, at least. Sometimes we do need to connect into this energy. Like when we're feeling down, when we're feeling hurt, when we're feeling upset, the very best things we can do is just function very simply when we're processing deeper pains, deeper betrayals, deeper shocks, whatever the case may be. Sometimes we do need to move away from the environments, connections that are causing us the most confusion. Sometimes we do need to extract our energy from any entanglement that actually gets us to a point where we're confused about what is mine and what is yours. We do have to travel away. We do have to move away. Maybe you've recently separated. Maybe you've moved away temporarily, is what I want to say, guys, because I'm feeling like there's this new beginning, or at least reinvigoration. But if there was a massive ending that you required healing from, for example, the end of a relationship, you're going to see that was of purpose to bring this new energy that's actually trying to make its way into your life. That light was symbolic of what I'm picking up on here. I do see that I'm connecting into many Scorpios that had to make a head and heart decision about very slow moving energy, perhaps in the realms of love, perhaps in the realms of career, whatever the case may be. It wasn't perhaps moving as fast as you wanted it to, and that frustration, it built to a point that it was probably combustible for you, and you just wanted peace. You just needed to retreat. There's only so much that we can say and do and act. Sometimes we are reliant on another party to get things moving, and that's not abdicating responsibility, Scorpio. When there's two people involved in a picture, now again, take this however it resonates, in a connection, in decisions that are made, but a significant connection in your life, okay? There's only so much that we can do from our end in order to genuinely want authentic connection, genuinely want authentic reciprocity, equal give and take. We cannot, and we can sometimes have to refuse to fall into old paradigms where we're playing an old role, where we continue to give and empty our own vessel. Sure, it gets things moving, it gets things happening, and displays on a surface level that there is progress in some way. However, that progress is also unbalanced. When we genuinely want equal give and take, sometimes it is this, like I'm feeling Scorpios that wanted something to move a lot quicker than what it was perhaps, and it was going at a pace that was more methodical, probably too slow for your liking. But I feel here that this had to happen for a reason. You were becoming aware of information, or weren't quite aware of information, is what I want to say. Maybe you were becoming aware of conflicting information. Maybe you were feeling conflicted about this juggling act that was happening or had to happen. I do feel that I'm connecting into a lot of Scorpios that are now deciding, I don't want to juggle this anymore. I don't want to sit in this not knowing. I don't want to play this old role. I don't want to continue to compromise maybe this healing chamber, maybe this healing space you took for yourself recently, because sometimes we do have to disconnect, like I said earlier. Enlightened you to the fact of how you were allowing old roles to play out, how you were allowing old behaviors, old traumas, old triggers, whatever the case may be, old motivations to play out. And if the goal was to manifest divine love, because you've sensed this, you know this, underneath all of this, Scorpio, you knew that this time, this year, this connection, there was something about this situation, this experience you're going through was the test. It was the test to teach you about divine love. Now, we naturally romanticize this in our very 3D reality. We romanticize 3D. We were in the 3D where we romanticize this idea or ideal of divine love, of unconditional love. But you know what? It really is such a massive feat. To process betrayals, to process massive endings and hurts, and truly trust in the magic of new beginnings. And that's what's being asked of many Scorpios that I'm connecting into. The first 2 weeks of July was almost necessary for you to get to this healing place. Like, I feel like it was necessary for you to get clear on what this means for you. No matter how long it takes me, I am committed to this. No matter how long I've been in a connection, and it may have been going amazing and I thought it was going to be this thing, or this was my new. But the minute I got a sign of anything old, of anything that resembled old paradigms, old ways of me connecting, or it was almost like a choice point is what I'm feeling, Scorpio. Like, I can continue to, I can say that this connection, this experience is divine, and even my relationship to myself. Yeah, I'm stronger, I'm loving myself more, I'm wiser than what I have been after everything that I've been through. But we are tested in every moment. It is our higher self that tests us in every moment. I'm feeling really drawn to a unique scenario perhaps for a Scorpio out there that had to decide recently, like, is this just the same old is what I'm feeling and hearing. And if so, why so? And I had to take some time to myself again. But I do see here that you felt that it had potential, it had, and maybe it still does, because I see here there's this beautiful new beginning trying to make its way to you, you know, and that can definitely exist within an already existing relationship or connection. But it's almost like you've recently had to decide. As great as this is, as much as it ticks boxes on almost every level, and that is the key, on almost every level is what I keep hearing, you still decided to end it, and maybe it had to end. Because change is here. Change is here, and it's about the reignition of your fire, your confidence after a time of loss, Scorpio. And I'm also connecting into many Scorpios that have been deciding, do I really want this connection to go to that level, you know, to go to that deeper level, to go to that level that I've always wanted in connections. I don't want to sit on the surface anymore. Maybe you're connecting into an earth sign, okay? Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. Maybe you're connecting into a Gemini. There is a lot of air sign around you. Maybe you have that in your chart, okay? So Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. But there's this beautiful balance of fire, earth, air, and water. And it was this time away, this healing time that you needed, that's represented by the Six of Swords and the Four of Swords. It's almost like this reinvigoration that provided you with clarity about the juggling, about the investment that it was going to take you, or that you're no longer choosing to take on board. I don't want to be juggled. I don't want to juggle. I don't want to juggle this ideal with the actions that will never really fulfill that ideal, is what I keep hearing. I see here many Scorpios are coming out of a time of processing deeper pains. Now, this can go back to past energy. We are in retrograde motion, okay? We are in retrograde season, I should say. There are many planets in retrograde motion which are bringing up memories of the past. Maybe you were triggered because of a new connection and you retreated because it triggered old fears, it triggered old wounds, and that had to be healed before this reinvigoration in that very same connection could happen. Take it however it resonates. Maybe something had to end so that you can meet this new beginning, this new connection, this new love that's trying to make its way in your life. Maybe you had to heal a lot of childhood traumas before you welcomed the birth of a baby. Take it however it resonates. There's a beautiful new chapter here, and whatever you've recently gone out of, whatever you've recently transmuted, the Wheel of Fortune, this energy of Jupiter that we're all working with at the moment, you know, how do we embrace the opportunity of expansion? How do we embrace the opportunity for growth? Sometimes we have to retreat. Sometimes we subconsciously, you know, fight, flight, or freeze. Sometimes we do retreat, retract, or at least not act, because we're juggling, we're deciding, how best do I go about this, Scorpio? How do I welcome this new love into my life? How do I welcome the concept of divine love into my life and make a completely new beginning about the ways in which I experience the depths of my emotional body? Make no mistake, every Scorpio out there knows how deep that emotional water goes within you. But it's almost like a private sanctuary for you. It's almost like a space that you don't share with anybody else. And there's someone, something coming into your life that's almost demanding that you, I've got goosebumps, strip the walls to vulnerability and allow them in. Now I feel like crying. We can talk and dream. And even, as empaths, as healers, as intuitives, I know many of you do this sort of work. A lot of the connections I have through Indigo Ascension, a lot of you are powerful healers and powerful intuitives and really empowered empaths that know, thought, prayer, meditation is great and all these higher consciousness concepts we are aware of, that we think we've been, and we know we've been transmuting and working through our whole lives, our whole healing journey. We're aware of it. We're aware of the reflection of the mirror. But life sometimes presents us with an opportunity, a person, a commitment, a job, an opportunity to truly open our hearts and experience what divine love is. And I feel the Scorpios I'm connecting into almost in the recent past went, hold up. This is the real bomb diggity, and I'm just not quite sure how to go about it. I'm used to being on my own. I'm used to playing a certain role. I'm used to not letting everyone into that place that is just safe. It is just for me. I feel like there was a crossroads moment where you had to make a true head and heart decision about how best to process forward after everything you've been through, after you knew this thing, this love, this opportunity to love like perhaps you've never loved before, okay? And all love relationships always begin with self. You knew this year was going to be big, and I think the last 2 weeks have been very significant for coming out of this cocoon time. It's almost like that journey of the butterfly, that caterpillar has to completely combust. It must come completely undone. In that moment in the chrysalis, we don't know what's going on beneath the surface. And maybe you did your eat, sleep, repeat routine and you played the same role and continued on each day. But deep inside, there was deeper subconscious healing happening. For a lot of Scorpios that I've been connecting into, the last 2 weeks have been this metamorphosis. Like truly releasing a lot of this stuff, Scorp. A lot of this stuff from the past. And maybe there was a trigger. Maybe recently in the last month there was a trigger. Okay? And it could have been something small. It could have been something minute. But it's not small when it's us, when it's affecting our emotions. When it's a trigger for us, it's almost like this individual, this situation, this recent thing that helped unblock something for you almost helped release the floodgates of everything that was ever holding you back. Every memory, every energy cord, every way in which that we still hold on to the old in one way or another. Because what's on offer for you is this beautiful offer of love, this genuine, authentic expression of love. It's almost like a reconnection back into innocence, to a time that you truly did believe in the magic and the healing powers of love. Like all the water signs, you guys know that emotions can be completely enriching and nurturing and healing, as they can equally be all-encompassing and completely destructive. You know how deep that love feels when it goes into the shadows. You also have the divine birthright to experience how light and beautiful that feels too. I feel like I want to say to the Scorpios that I'm connecting into to say yes to your divine fire. Say yes to the confidence, to the ability to be able to turn heads, okay? And even the way you look at yourself like that. Feel confident in who you are. Feel confident that this path, this purpose of this thing, everything of the past has been of purpose to get you to here, to your butterfly stage, to your metamorphosis. The last 10 years are significant for many of the Scorpios that I'm connecting into. The last 4 years particularly. There's a harmonic balance here that you had to choose peace. There's 2 sixes. You had to choose peace in one way or another. I have to make peace with this, even though I don't have all the answers as to why. And you know what? Sometimes things happen because that is the divine process in which our soul has agreed for it to happen, to teach us everything that we had learned. And sometimes what we have to learn is acceptance that we will not be given the answer to our whys. There's a 6-year story here where you've really balanced the two aspects of self. You've really come into integration about choosing peace. There was a part of you that was at war with yourself and another part of you that desperately wanted to connect into this innocence of love, this freedom that ultimately comes with love. When we give our heart so freely like a child, we remain extremely empowered because our vulnerability isn't powerlessness. It is invulnerability, our choice to be open to the slings and arrows of the world, to love, to be open to the risk of pain that actually makes us completely indestructible. I feel like crying. I didn't even talk about your soul cards. Perhaps you've been experiencing doubt and denial about how much you truly were holding on to. And this thing, this desire to slip away recently was necessary for you to truly understand the feeling of peace, and that love can also feel like peace, Scorpio. Love can feel like peace. What a healing 2 weeks. But that was your reading for the first 2 weeks of July. I hope you've got something out of that. It feels deep, Scorp. I'm not going to lie. You're coming out of a massive healing chamber, but also a massive realization. Your higher self wants you to open up to this new opportunity of divine love. Divine love starts with self and is naturally reflected in all our connections. Will you say yes? I hope you do. Please go ahead and check out your monthly reading for July. And like I said earlier, check out Instagram for your weekly read for the week of July 13th. Enjoy the final closing of the 2 weeks. I will also have the last fortnight of July up on the channel shortly. Take care, Scorpio.